Well, hello and welcome back to Partickhill Station. I'm Charlie. So today I'm presenting a video on Motorail and a little bit of information on my progress with adding a decoder to an older Hornby locomotive. It's been challenging to say the least. You know, if you've got any input into this, and specifically about the Hornby Select controller, which has been problematic because it turns out I only have version 1.1, and in order to get it upgraded I have to get it to Hornby, who would charge me £15 to update the firmware, which isn't really the problem. The problem is that I have to send it over to the UK in order to have that done. I wish there was a workaround somewhere. Anyway, I have to say that this video and the compilation of it and the recent purchases of bits and pieces was inspired by Graham over at West Partickhill Model Railway. Now, I'd watched Graham's video recently on his Motorail terminal, and I thought, I've got some of the parts for that. I could probably do it. I just have to try and find bits and pieces to bring it all together, and that's what I think I've managed to be able to do with the help of Faisal Damji here in the Toronto area. Faisal's got a little store selling British model railways, and they're all quality bits and pieces. So if you're looking for anything and you live in the Toronto area, visit Faisal, and I'll give you the link to his store. Anyway, let's get to the trains and see what I've been doing. So I have a couple of new arrivals here today. I just picked them up. I was at Faisal Damji's model railway store here in the Toronto area, and he was keeping an eye out for these items for me, and when I went down today he had them. So just stay tuned and I'll get them out on the track. Now this is a TRIANG P339. It's a BR second class sleeping car in the blue and grey livery of British Rail. The running number is 2510. It's a nice model. There's nothing missing. There never is when you buy from Faisal. He only deals in quality products. Now, as I said, the car transporter with the 3 cars is in the box as R126, and I did a bit of research into volume 2 of TRIANG Hornby, the story of Rovex, and that particular number does not show up here. There is a similar type bogie, but it doesn't have the gates at the end or the railings. Now, as it turns out, this model here with the 3 cars is R563. First appeared in 1967. However, this model here, this is R6143, and it first appeared in 2001. Now, this was actually made in Britain. It's got that on the underside of the chassis. But it's interesting, it's got this sign here, not to be worked past Zeebrugge. Now I'll need to do a little bit more investigation into this to find the story behind it and why it was in this box, and I might get in touch with Faisal and ask him if he knows anything about it, because we did discuss this, and you know, there was a series of different bogies, as you can see here. And when he got that one, it was in that box as R126. Anyway, we'll continue the story, but that in itself is a great little model with the working ramps and the nice finished railing. Nice wheels, runs very smooth. Anyway, on to the next part of this mystery and how I came about getting these two. Now, just before we move on, these vehicles are the Triumph 2000, and here in the TRIANG Hornby book is a listing of Rovex Industries Limited and Minix, and you can see there Triumph 2000, and let's just see what that says. Each were a shilling, and you got them in car packs, and the Triumph 2000 was RC4. There's a lot of information here on Minix. And there's the listing for the Triumph 2000. Just about every day I go onto YouTube and just scout around looking for model railway layouts and how all the other enthusiasts do things at their layout, and I came across Graham at WOODHILL Park Model Railway. Now, many of you will probably know Graham. He has this fabulous layout, and on his video number 107 the other day, Graham's got a fascinating collection of Motorail bolster wagons and other designs of car transporters over the last few decades, and he goes on to describe the service BR provided over the years. Why drive when you can sit back and relax or sleep in a cosy compartment? Make sure you check out Graham's video after watching this video. I decided I would try to make a similar train. Now, it might not turn out to be prototypical, but it makes for an interesting story and gives us an insight into Motorail, adding to the great story that Graham has told. You might have seen my earlier video of my CAR-A-BELLE car transporters from the RS62 set from the late 60s, and how I replaced the plastic wheels with metal ones and stabilised the bogies. And that's something that you might want to look into. Anyway, we'll move on to the next part of this video. Well, there's your sleeper car. And there is the two bolster wagons, two different styles. The second one is the R563 that came as two different sets. Here you can see it's the same bolster wagon, but two different numbers, one for the three vans and the other for the three cars. So from what I understand, these vans are fairly sought after. It's a busy time around Partickhill Station with the opening of the new Motorail service on the south side of Glasgow. Here we have a Class 47 pulling a rake of car carriers out of Central Station and heading towards the bridge over the River Clyde. So while this might not be prototypical with the coaches I've got here, especially that restaurant coach, it does represent Motorail as it was in the 60s and 70s before its unfortunate and untimely demise. Two further complications here. There is a bit of solder on that tab, and I'll need to try and melt it off because I can't get the little clip to mount onto it properly. And the other thing is, with my Hornby, after I select the local or the address, and I press select, the red button, the red light there flashes 8 times. That tells me there is a problem with either, well, it's a problem with the version of the firmware that is on this Hornby Select, which is, I believe, is 1.1, which is an older original one. And you have to send it to Hornby to get it updated. So that's another challenge. Anyway, we'll just continue along these lines. Hi John, some interesting developments. I had been working on this Class 37 and it wasn't working. Then I noticed that it was missing this pickup here. So I found one lying around here, put it on, and that's now working. Now going back to the one you worked on, as you can see, it's missing one of those pickups. Now I don't have a spare one at the moment, and what I might do is take that one and port it over here for the purpose of testing. I don't know if you had tested this on a track, but as you know, it does run with a 9-volt battery, so that's what I'm going to do, because I can't get it to work on the test bed. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. It was certainly thrilling for me to be able to get the two trains running, one going back to my CAR-A-BELLE car transporters, which I got a number of years ago, and with all the cars, some I picked up separately, but I was able to find quite a few of them on eBay or at a show, and been able to assemble that train. And then the more recent modern edition, which you see includes a couple of versions like flatbed, and then the Motorail, ending up with the Motorail wave-shaped one with the arches. That just brings it through that time period, and it's unfortunate the way things worked out, that the system seemed to be working well, it was being well used, and then they canned it, which is really unfortunate. It was very innovative at the time. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, please remember to give me the big thumbs up and share this video, of course. Comment if you can, I really appreciate that, and I will get back to you. Most of you know that. Visit Faisal's website, and visit Graham's channel as well to get further information on Motorail. And I'll drop in a video about a sort of historical review of Motorail itself. And we'll see you next time here at Partickhill Station, where you never know what you're going to get. Bye for now.